Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to GB Gaming. Today we are going to be looking at a Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion total conversion in the form of SGI or Stargate Invasion. Very recently, I think it was in late April, a new news post popped up from the team, which said that you could join a Google Groups segment in order to do some testing for them. I've recently joined that, so I could take a look at the mod and just show you guys a bit of it. At present, it's not fully realised in the way that it has been in the past. Previously, quite some time ago, there was a release that contained the Tari, or the humans, the Goa'uld, or Gould, I don't really know how you say it, but I've always said Goa'uld, some Wraith vessels, and I believe also some Azuran vessels. Following that, I think sometime in 2016, or perhaps even 2015, it was scaled back to just the Tari, or the humans, and has been like that for some time. This release, it reintroduces the Azurans, which we will be taking a look, not this episode, but the next episode. We're going to do two individual episodes so we can look at both races in a little bit more detail. My apologies, please excuse me. I'll probably edit that out. And what I expect that we'll be doing is I've actually played it for probably about an hour and a bit in order to get it up to where the technology levels are quite high with Atari, so we can take a look at it without having to go through an hour and a half of gameplay. I felt like that would be better, just so we can show bits off. We don't want the episodes to be endless, unless people do want to play through, in which case it's certainly something I'll consider. But we'll go into single player. Now, we can see at the moment that certain things have been changed on the menu and other things not. In fact, let's just go back to the main starting menu. We can see that we've got these little Lantian-style Stargate chevrons here, which are quite nice. I like those. I like the way that it's overall set up. But unfortunately, we have what appears to be... it's gone! We've got a Lantian... not a Lantian, good lord, I'm going crazy. What looks like a Vasari... Titan. Is that Vasari one? I don't know. It's either a Vasari or an Advent Titan. I'm not sure which. I think Vasari, judging by the way that it looks in there. It's kind of a shame that there wasn't a cosmetic for one of the ships that they have in game, but there we are. Right, moving on to the actual menu itself. This is very reflective in the surround of the stock game, aside from the chevrons here, and you can see that they've got a nice little slightly transparent Stargate in the background. That's the SG-1 Stargate because of the orange bits. Right, anyway, that's quite aside from it. You can see I've got a level to load up called the SGI Preview. This is for the Tori. Let's load them up. You can see I'm playing as the Tori, and I'm also playing against the Tori. I did have a cheeky look to see if there were any Goa'uld models in by trying to select the Goa'uld, but it wouldn't have any of it. So let's just... we're only playing on normal as well because I didn't necessarily feel the need to make it too challenging for myself. Right, let's take a overall look around. We'll pause the game very quickly. You can see that I've taken quite a lot of the map. Now, just in brief inspection, we can see that much of the visuals remain the same with regards to the map itself. We can see that the desert planets, ice planets, Terran planets, etc. These are all very reflective of the stock game, which is fine. It was a system that worked. It would have been nice to see a little bit of change there, but I understand why that hasn't happened yet, and it may be something that the team chooses to do at a later date. On the upside, you can see that the surround UI here is very nice and clean. I find this very attractive. I think they've done a great job here, and I'm quite happy with the way it looks. If we take a quick look at the research, you can see that while the actual buttons themselves, a lot of them do look like they come from the stock game. An effort has been made in order to ensure that we all know what ships we can unlock. We'll be taking a look at the ships in a moment, so I don't think we need to concern ourselves too hard with that. But we've got things like the X304, which is recognisable. There's a couple of others that may be recognisable in there. The Excalibur's beautiful, which we'll have a look at in a minute. We have a fully formed defence tree. Often the strings have been realised in such a way that you understand that these are intended as Lantean. We've got a hyperspace inhibitor there, which is clearly a custom and unique design. We've got the X302 F312 hangar bay. F312, incidentally, is a bomber variant that is quite similar to the X302. A Stargate, which you can pop onto any of your star bases once you unlock that. A lot of nice things on there. I think they've done quite well. Got repair platforms, planetary shields, and also minefields, which I'll show you in a bit. So overall, relatively happy with the research trees. I think they've done a good job. One thing that they might benefit from choosing to do is changing the background colours. That's not too challenging a job, and I do find that if they're changed, or they're perhaps an image is inset into it in a transparent way like we had in a previous menu, that will further kind of differentiate the mod from the stock menu system. You can see that these inset pictures here, they have been changed very, very nicely. Oh, that's an unfinished model. I like that. A defense bay of some form. But you can see that they've been changed to Stargate images, so that... oh, except for that one. We'll ignore that, though. As have these. I think... They may have been, they may not, I'm not sure. Also, the artifacts, which I found 3 of so far, have been realised with almost Stargate lore. If we just hover over one of them. The secret of the Stargate program is unleashed to its full potential, producing a harmonising effect, yielding higher population growth and tax rates. And then we've got Nox planetary shields, a large planetary energy system that emits charged particles into the upper atmosphere, creating a partial barrier to orbital bombardment. All very Stargatey, except for this one. Oh, it does say 5th race in there, so yeah. Now then. Well, here we are on the map. Let's just go to our homeworld and we can have a look at a few of the ships. I think we'll start out with kind of cruisers, if you like. Do you know what I probably don't have here is I don't have one of our standards, which is typical of me. Let's just go create ourselves one of these and one of these, and then I think we'll be cooking with gas. We can unpause for a moment, let them produce. They do seem to produce, frigates particularly, produce very, very quickly.
I'll find it.
We can see, when we're zoomed out, that these have all got custom Empire window models. Models? Meshes? Yes, particles, whatever you want to call them. They're all custom, so you can recognise them fairly easily. What we'll do is we'll zoom back in, lose the ship. This little fellow here is our Fenrir class. It's a scout. Nice little ship, quite like it, particularly like the little blue underlining. So let's tell him to go on his merry way. He can go scouting. Along with the Fenrir, right at the start, you get access to another ship I can't find because I'm an idiot.
Our backup is joining the fight.
One of these days, I'll be really well organised, and you'll probably all be shocked to death. No, it's not the Tempest, but it looks like the Tempest. Aha! X303. This is your standard frigate, which we all recognise. This was in SG-1. I think it was the first space-worthy ship that the Tory were able to produce. So it's really nice to have that in there. Maybe it was the X301. Anyhow, I do notice that there are some very mild, what appear to be texture issues. You can see that there's something interesting going on there. Also, when you move it... Oh. You can see that there's no kind of lighting of the engines, and it's slightly misplaced. Not the end of the world. That's something that the team can easily fix when they choose to. This is just me picking holes in it because I'm doing a bit of a review. I don't want it to be intended as destructive criticism. It should be intended as constructive. Moving on, the next ship that I chose to get because it looked awesome was the BC-304. Let's just take a look at the military tree. You can see you get that very, very early on from taking First Asgard Treaty, which is a research that you can get. The Asgard have finally agreed to share their technology, but only to an extent. And you get this lovely thing, which I think the Daedalus was the same class as. Do correct me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a very, very good ship, particularly later on, because you do get some additional bits and bobs, such as Asgard beam weapons. We'll go through that in the research in a bit. There are also various other ships which we'll take a look through. We've got the Claudius frigate next, which you can get at the same time, which I think I've got at the front here. Damn it. Claudius! There it is. Here is the Claudius class. Once again, I quite like the design. I do particularly like the engine bays on this one. I don't know if this is a canon design, but nonetheless I quite like it, especially as it looks like it's got Star Trek warp nacelles with little red blobs. Let's see what it says about the Claudius. Punishing long-range anti-strike craft weapons. So that's your anti-fighter frig. Next in the line, we've got several things coming on next. We've got the Phoenix and the Tempest. Now, the Tempest, it's quite thin towards the back left. Yes. Here's the Tempest class, which is quite a nice ship again. You can see it's very loosely based around the X-303, showing some kind of design lineage in there. Once again, don't know if it's stock. This is a quick tactical strike craft, so almost like a Corvette. Let's see how quick it goes.
I'll do my best.
Oh yeah, that is quite fast. And what was the other one that we had? The Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix and the Nyx do look quite similar, but they're of differing sizes. Is it this one? Yes. Here's the Phoenix. Once again, a good design. Now, with regards to textures, one thing I do notice is there seem to be varying lineages with textures. Now, whether this is because the textures were done by different texture artists or at different times, there does seem to be some kind of separation between ships. There are some that it's very, very justified with. For example, we're just going to move over to this ship here, the Concordia Class, but I believe this was made, as you can probably tell from the shape of it, by introducing Asgard technology. Whereas many of the ships do remain exclusively human, and yet they look different from one another. We'll take this fine fellow here, which is one of the newer variants of texture, possibly. I'm not sure. It's got kind of like these darker blue segments around the engines, and it's just got this really kind of like beautifully textured weather design, complete with great bump maps. And then perhaps we'll come over here to the... actually, that's not so bad. There are a couple of ships that I felt that just didn't quite match up, like this fellow here. While the colours are quite nice, the texture density isn't quite of the same quality, and it looks like it doesn't have any bump maps that really make it pop. So there does appear to be some differentiation. I mean, perhaps this was an earlier vessel. Was it the Ares class was an earlier designed vessel, earlier textured vessel, and then some of the later vessels were textured when the same artist had a greater skill set or a better skill set. I'm not sure. That's entirely conjecture. There are quite a few other ships in the lineup. You can see it, so it's very well realised. We've just had a look at the Ares, so we won't bother. We've got the Morpheus, which is a quick strike little fellow. I'm not going to be able to find him, though, because he's bloody tiny. Morpheus, there he is. And this, I think, might well be one of the newer ones. I think this is very, very attractive. Very, very well done. Lots of detail on the model. Beautiful, gorgeous detail. And I love this model. I think this is great. Moving on from the Morpheus, we've had a look at the Ares. Let's take a look at the Concordia, which we've already had a look on. Tari have developed a mighty Concordia class capital ship. And we've also got the Zephyr, which we had a look at. We made it zip off earlier. Oh no, that was the Tempest. We'll find the Zephyr. Zephyr? Zephyr. We might not find it. Well, that's immaterial. But yes, here's the... Yes, here's the Concordia class that we looked at a little while ago, which has a slightly different overall colour. We've got the Cerberus, Nyx, Poseidon, all nice ships. I think these are all capital ships. We have the Poseidon here, which is a strike craft, or a fighter carrier. Yes, three fighters it has there. The Cerberus, come on now. There is one. I know, because I built it. there's the Nyx, which is actually a cruiser. Again, very attractive. It's kind of a heavy shock design. And here's the Cerberus, which is again a cruiser. I think this has fighters too. No. Oh, I really like that one actually. It looks like a heavier variant of the, or at least a heavier armoured variant of the BC-302. We've also got, oh, here's the Zephyr that we were talking about earlier. This is actually a fighter carrier. There we go. And also, possibly the most attractive ship in the lineup. Sadly, this one isn't textured yet. It's the Akiles class battleship. This exploded onto the scene quite some while ago, and I was really looking forward to seeing it fully textured. But you can see some work has been done, particularly with the lighting. But sadly, the ship itself is not fully textured yet, but it is very, very attractive. Moving on, we've got the Scorpion support battleship, I suppose, if you want to call it that. It's got Asgard beam weapons, as most of these ships do, a core overload that it can do, condemnation, and emergency assault, which is common throughout many of the ships. Moving on from that, you've got the Excalibur Besieger class. I think this is the last but one capital ship that you can get, with the Akiles down there being the last. This one is really attractive. I really like this one. This is possibly my favourite design of the bunch. Yes. And then we've got the Destiny, which is your starting colony cap. But I think what I want to do for this is we're just going to join these guys into a fleet. Tell them all to go together. And we're going to go and assault the pirate. Well, hello. We'll take a look at some other bits and bobs while this is happening. You can see that there's quite a lot going on here. This lovely design that surrounds the resource asteroids for the extractors. This is an Aquida, and then there's a Tritanium one over there. Very, very attractive. Sadly, untextured at this point, and the same could be said for the Hades starbase. Now, one thing I did notice about the starbase is it seems to upgrade. It actually seems to get bigger as you put more bits on it, and it does have a full complement of upgrades, which is very, very nice. In addition to that, as defences, you get these fellows here. Really nice model, sadly not textured as of yet, but this is the defence turret. Starts out as a railgun, and then as you progress in technology, you'll be able to get Asgard beams and all sorts of nice things, and a missile barrage. To complement that, you also have the F302, X302 and F312 hangar bay. You can only get 2 in there, but you can get an upgrade where it will fire at enemy fighters, which is quite nice. It's fairly similar to the stock game. And there is a repair bay, but this is sadly a stock model. I'm sure they'll be changing that as time goes by. Is there anything else I wanted to show off here? We've got trade ports here. Nice model. I'm not sure what the model itself is from the trade port, but I do know that this isn't in the stock game, and I think it would stand to reason, based on its overall design, that it is a custom one. We do have these Nyx transports here. Sadly, they don't appear to be finished. Looking quite lumpy bumpy and without textures, but once again, I wouldn't want to criticise a work in progress unnecessarily. Is there anything else that might be of interest? We have combat laboratories here. You may recognise this fine thing as the combat laboratory, and we also have a civilian one. I don't think I've got a civilian one in this well, but we'll pop over to our home world. Yes, I'm pretty sure I've got some civvy labs there. Here we go. Here's a civilian lab, and this is very, very similar, in fact, if not identical, to the gate complex that they built kind of midway between 2 galaxies, between was it the Pegasus galaxy? Possibly, yes, between the Milky Way and the Pegasus galaxy, which allowed people to have a bit of a rest before they carried on through the chain of Stargates. Really like that. Very, very good inclusion. We'll take a look at the Frigate Factory as well, which is a custom design, quite clearly, because it's got another similar design there. Not textured yet, sadly. And the Capital Shipyard, please do let me know if I'm wrong or right about this, but I have a suspicion that this was in the stock game. But do tell me. Do tell me. It's been retextured, even if it was in the stock game, but it may well be a stock model.
Good day, Commander.
Right, let's take our ships to the pirate bay, to the pirate forces, so we can take a look and see how they perform in battle. You'll see, ladies and gentlemen, if you have the Outlaw DLC, that Outlaws work, which is a really nice little thing. I am happy with all the research that I've done. We've got good amount of weapon research, decent unlocks with Asgard beam weapons, and also Lagrangian, yes, possibly Lagrangian, maybe, weapons as well. We haven't made any Titans yet, which is one thing that I was tempted to do. We've got two various types of Titans. One is a Hephaestus Titan, which specializes in supporting friendly fleets with defensive abilities and strikecraft. And we have the Tartarus warship, which is a powerful long-range warship with a superb offense centered around its powerful railgun. I think we're going to go for the Tartarus this time. I do very much suggest finding this mod and possibly considering downloading it, because anything that aids the mod creators is just good times. Alright, now that that's building, we'll also take a look at mines, which we'll take a look at our fleet in a moment. We do have mines as well, and I really like the design of these. As you can see, it is a nuclear weapon with a little Naquadah generator on the side of it, which would enhance the size of the explosion significantly. Now then, back to our vessels, and let's see if we can win this. I don't know if we will, but we will watch the ships as they fight. You can hear that there are some custom sound effects, particularly with regards to Lantean weapons. You can hear that bzz, bzz, bzz. However, many of the railgun sound effects are from the stock game, sadly. But it does stand to reason, because they are kind of effectively machine gun weapons. Overall, I'm quite happy with the way that it works. Let's just watch this fine fellow blow up. There he goes. You can see that once you get a little bit later in the research tree, that your ships can absolutely cane the enemies with Atlantean weapons. It's almost not funny. And a BC-304 doing its thing. Oh, look, there it is. There goes the Excalibur. He is ready. I love it. We're absolutely decimating the enemy here. Absolutely decimating them. Let's see if we can build that Titan we were thinking about. Sugar. I don't have enough stuff. Let's up our logistics and grab the Titan, because I want to take a look at that. I haven't seen it yet. Let's see what kind of damage these... Oh, shaky, shaky. Oh, look at that. That's a custom effect for the mine. I like it a lot. We're definitely winning this. Should we see if there's any special bombing visuals? Looks like the bombing visuals are taken from the tech at the moment. It'd be interesting to see if they could choose any beam weapons to attack the planet with. If your ships are equipped with Azuran beam weapons, you might be able to... Azuran? I'm terrible, aren't I? Azuran. But yes, if your ship is equipped with Asgard beam weapons, you might be able to fire. I've probably said Azuran beam weapons several times. I apologise for that. Please don't castigate me too hard in the comments. But let me know if I've said anything else wrong, and I will certainly not correct it, and probably make the same mistake again. But overall, the combat mechanics seem good. They seem fairly solid. Most of the ships stay static. But there are one or two that like to zip around. Let's take a look at the different fighter groups that we have. This is, of course, the F312, which is the bomber variant. Quite a cool ship. I'm not sure if it's textured at this point. Doesn't look like it has been fully textured, but it's got a bump map, so... And hopefully we can sneak in and find... Got the F302s over here? We have. And there we have the F302s, which are highly recognisable. That's fantastic. Very cool ships. Now let's see if our Titan is finished, so we can take a look at that before the end of this brief little show and tell. Oh wow. Let's speed the game up. You can only do this in single player, sadly. You can't do this in multiplayer. Wow, that takes an absolute age to build. We'll take a look at the diplomacy research. There is something called a War Measures Act, which allows you to increase your tax rate. But this is very much stock, aside from, of course, the Hermes design, which is something that allows you to build your own envoy ship. Fleet logistics, once again, remains largely the same. The overall design of the research trees is quite similar to the TEC from the stock game, so if you know the stock game well, why are you not finishing building your cretin?
Hostile forces have arrived.
Oh well. Might finish... Oh, it's crashed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it does appear that there is a game-affecting crash. I'm not sure what it's to do with, but the game has crashed for me, sadly. Maybe to do with this commodity boom that started happening in somebody's territory. It's something that we can always report back to the developers, and that's one of the main reasons that I believe that you should pop onto SGI's page. The description is in the link below. Show them a bit of support by commenting on there. Apply to the Google groups and get yourself a copy of this mod, and you can start reporting back any errors that you find or issues that you think there might be. You're the player base, you are the testers. That's how it has to be, because no mod groups are going to be able to hire professional testers, if you will. So the onus, if you want a great mod, if you want something that is going to be well realized with no errors, no game crashing events like the one that we've just seen, if you want that, you have to drive that, and that's, I think, one of the beautiful thing about the modding community is they have always proven, in my experience with STA3, they've always proven very, very willing to give feedback. Whether it's positive or negative, it's always useful. Do try and be constructive if you can. If you have negative comments and say, I don't like this and here's what you could do better. Most of my criticisms for SGI at the moment focus on effectively the stripping down of the game, but I don't know the reasons for that. I've never been a member of their development team, so I think being offered the Goa'uld particularly, and the Wraith to a lesser extent, in one version, then having them removed in a later version and still not being put back, that grates on me a little, and I think it may have turned some of the community off the mod. But I think it's important to note that I think it was in late 2015, the previous mod lead did, because of real life commitments, have to leave the mod, and it was taken over by, I believe, Ace Fighter, which probably precipitated a change in design philosophy, and it's plausible that the mod may have lost some assets that it previously had. Once again, totally conjecture, I don't know. But I'm happy that there is a playable version of the mod out now. There are a lot of people who really, really want a good working Stargate mod for Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion. It does lend itself well to the ethos, if you will, particularly from the kind of the Goa'ulds and the Wraiths perspective. Slightly less so for the Tauri, but you can imagine them becoming a truly space-worthy and powerful race later on, particularly when you see their, albeit totally disastrous, battles against the Ori, kind of with the Russian Federation ships, etc. It's very, very cool. But ladies and gentlemen, I think I've done my usual and waffled far too extensively. This is a quick show-off of the Tauri race in order to get you a little bit interested, to get you thinking about going to SGI's page, which is in the description below, and contributing in some way, or simply just showing that you really want a mod of this type out there. So definitely go and do that. And if you want to speak to the mod developers through me, I'll let them know that I've posted this video, and you can always comment on the video, and do like it if you like what you've seen. with commenting on that video. Of course, you might well be able to get a response directly from the mod developers, or if I know the answer, I will answer it myself for you. There is going to be a second episode where I show off the Azurans, which is going to be quite fun. I do look forward to that. The Azurans are quite an interesting race there. Traditionally speaking, very powerful. You've got kind of like the Aurora class battleships and things like that. So I look forward to seeing what they've done and what their space installations and things are like, whether it's custom design or something that's come from canon. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching.